Member of Parliament for Embakasi East. And I will be introducing my guests in a few. But before we get into that, let's just take a look at a bit more information about this constituency that we are looking at tonight. All right, so Embakasi East is constituency number 285. Among the wards that are there, 5 of them, Upper Savannah, Lower Savannah, Embakasi, Utawala, and Mihango. These are the other 5 wards that are there in that particular constituency. Remember, Nairobi has 17 constituencies, each of them with 5 wards. So these are the 5 wards that are in Embakasi East constituency. Remember, it used to be larger Embakasi, which was the biggest constituency or the largest constituency and the most densely populated. But then it was broken down to 5 constituencies: Embakasi East, Embakasi West, Embakasi South, Embakasi North, and Embakasi Central. Let's go to our next board and take a look at the population. According to the last census of Embakasi East constituency, 163,858. Remember, so far, number of registered voters is about 106,000 or more. The current Member of Parliament, John Omondi Ogutu, who will no longer be vying for that particular seat. Someone else is there for ODM by the name Babu Owino. He was with us in studio. So the Member of Parliament approval ratings is 41.5%. This is the worst according to Infotrack research poll. The latest research that was done showed that John Ogutu Omondi was the worst performing Member of Parliament in the whole of Nairobi from all the 17 constituencies. So this could be part of the reason why it's going to be a very heated race for this particular seat, perhaps because of the kind of performance that has been witnessed, but we'll definitely hear it from those who are vying. Let's take a look at how Embakasi East voted in the 2013 general election, see whether it is an ODM zone or a Jubilee zone. So for the Upper Savannah ward, the MCA was Benson Ligavo Amutavi from ODM. From Lower Savannah, we had Alfred Ambani Muhindi from ODM. Those are 2 from 5 wards in that particular constituency. From Embakasi, let's see who won the MCA or who is the current MCA for Embakasi ward. That is Michael Ogada Okumu, ODM once again. And Josh Omwenga Mose Kengere, ODM once again, Utawala ward. And finally, the only person outside ODM who clinched a seat in Embakasi East, and that is Mihango's Kados Paul Mwiriri Kigwathi from TNA, which now is Jubilee. He definitely is running once again to defend his seat as MCA for Mihango. So Embakasi East is our area of concentration tonight, and the debate is among 3 gentlemen. We invited Francis Mureithi, who will be flying the flag for Jubilee. It should be noted that he turned down our request to be present in this particular debate. Hence, we have only 3 candidates who will be featuring or engaging in this particular debate tonight. Good evening. Thank you for joining us here on Choice 2017. All right, gentlemen, thank you very much once again for joining us here on Choice 2017. I'll just begin by introducing my guests. Francis Masinde, who is vying on an independent ticket. Thank you for making time for us. We have Stephen Minor, or Mzito, as he's commonly referred to us. Thank you for coming in. And finally, this is not a new face to you, Babu Owino, who is vying on an ODM ticket. Thank you very much for joining us, gentlemen. I will start with you, Francis. Tell your constituents, tell our viewers, who is Francis Masinde?
Wow, Francis Masinde is an Embakasi East resident since his teen years. I live there, I work there, I've invested there. I've done a lot of initiatives in Embakasi East. I know everything that goes on in Embakasi East. If you show up in Embakasi East, most likely I'll know that you're there. You know, that is how much I'm deeply rooted in Embakasi East. Now, I'm an entrepreneur. I've been here a number of times to talk about entrepreneurial issues and how to empower the youth who are there, because Embakasi East is largely youth. And it's actually not a coincidence that you can see the top candidates who are running for that seat are actually youth, and that's why we are there. We want to empower the manpower that is there, which is mostly youth. So I am sold out to Embakasi East, other than me being a resident there, and I want to make sure where I live, which is Embakasi East, is a tip-top constituency, a constituency that I'd like to call home, and I'd want to invite everybody to come to Embakasi East once I'm actually the MP there, to make sure things are actually going right.
All right, Mzito, who are you to your people?
They refer to me as Mzito, but my real names are Stephen Maina Warwengi, a resident Mihango Ward. I've been in Mihango for quite some time, and in the Embakasi East, I'm there for some time now. I know the area so well. I've been able to intermingle with the people in Embakasi East. We have done so much with them. And I believe what we have done, now I'm standing in, I'm vying in as an independent candidate. We were in for, when we were going for the primaries with the Jubilee, and then with those shambolic elections.
And we'll definitely get to that.
And then that's why I decided now then I should go to jump into independent, because I believe that the people of Embakasi were not even amused with what happened. And I know one time, 8th of August, things would just turn the way people wanted it to be. Otherwise, that's all. And I think as we go by, we shall try to see and even talk about Embakasi as a large. But by and large, I must say that Embakasi is a good place. I should also invite you to come and visit there. People there are so jovial, they are so welcoming, and they are good people there.
All right, let's listen to Babu.
Thank you very much. Babu Wino is a loving husband, a responsible father, and actually by profession, a lawyer in the making. A Kenyan citizen who means no harm, thinks no harm, does no harm, intends no harm, but wants the best for the Kenyan citizen. Yes.
Well, from your fellow colleagues' introduction, they say that they've grown up in Embakasi, they live in Embakasi. For you, why Embakasi East? Why did you choose it?
When I look at the history of Embakasi East, if we talk about the people who are living in Embakasi East is like Babu Wino has gone back home, because my grandfather had 4 wives. All of them were staying in Soweto, Kayole, in Embakasi East. My mom was brought up in Embakasi East. I was brought up in Kisumu, Nyalenda slums. When schools were closed, I used to come and visit my grandparents, and that's the interest for the Embakasi East. I'm also a person who owns properties in Embakasi East. I'm a landlord. Right now, it's so fortunate that my tenants are now living free for the next 6 months coming. And also, I have a house in Embakasi East, Donom. Yes.
So you are pretty much a member of Embakasi East constituency?
Yes.
So why do you think you're the most suitable candidates for Embakasi East, Mzito?
Well, I must say that Embakasi East, as I said earlier, we have been there for quite some time. And since we know each and everything that happens in Embakasi East, we know the problems that inflict people in Embakasi. The way I thought myself when I started my campaigns, or when I thought that I should become one of the leaders in Embakasi East, is that I had seen the problems that were facing the people of Embakasi. Largely, you find that Embakasi was initially owned by the land buying companies, like you realize that Embakasi Ranching and other small companies. And you realize that most of the people there do not have the title deeds for the properties that they own there. And you realize that we also have a lot of other problems, like having water. You realize that if you go to like Mihango, especially in Mihango, you realize that people have brown teeth simply because of the fluoride that is in the water. It's beyond 12%. And that's why we are saying that we need clean water. And for them to have clean water is that you must have a person who has the same problems like them, so that if we agitate for water, water comes in. And in fact, I'm saying in Embakasi, we are having some millions of problems. One of the many problems that we have is that apart from the issues of the title deeds, about of the water, we also have problems with, we don't have public schools. We realized that the only public schools that we have is the Embakasi Primary, we have Donholm Primary, and Mihango Primary. But the larger part where we have the largest population, in Soweto, we don't have a public school. In Tasia, we don't have a public school. In Utawala, we don't have a public school. And it's not that we don't have people who ought to have done it, but people have always had priorities upside down.
All right. And we're getting deeper into that, the issues that are affecting the people of Embakasi. Francis, why do you think you're the most suitable candidate to get this seat?
Now, first, coming from the very fact that we've had an absentee MP has exposed me to a lot of inadequacies in my very own constituencies. I have seen it. Personally, I'm involved with I run a production business, and a lot of youths are interested in this. I am an audiovisual director, amongst other things. And I've been able to try my best to help them launch their careers through this. The MP there, not only has he been absentee, but he has also been detrimental to the constituency, because the very funds that are meant to be utilized in the constituency have probably been diverted to do other things that are more selfish-oriented, especially more so to him. Now, I have been able to experience this firsthand because I live there. I live in Donholm as other people. I live in an estate called Oyster Village. That's where I live. And we've had problems, water problems, road problems, bursary issues. And like my colleague is saying, people are having issues with water more so in Mihango. It's a terrible program. Insecurity. Health facilities are not there. School, we don't have a proper school in Soweto, which is a lower Savannah ward. We don't have one in Utawala. We don't have health facilities in Utawala more so. People are actually suffering, yet we have someone who's supposed to represent them.
All right.
Yeah? Or use his influence to come up with ways that those things can be able to be reduced. So yes, I am the suitable candidate for them because I've been able to campaign amongst them, with them, to know exactly where the shoe hurts.
All right.
And indeed, I also wear the shoe.
All right, Babu, why you?
Thank you very much. I think leaders are chosen by God, and when God calls, no one should disobey, not unless you want to be swallowed with a fish like Jonah in the Bible. So I believe that when leaders are chosen by God, I was chosen by the people of Embakasi East and approved by God, shows that I'm the God's choice in Embakasi East. And whoever is not with me probably is with Satan. And what I'm intending to do to the people of Embakasi East, I think they are more or less the same issues that my colleagues have discussed here. The main problem in Embakasi East, I think the larger Embakasi East, is the issue of water. Water that's there is hard water, is salty water, flourished water. And when we consume such kind of water, is not good for our health. Because when children are born already consuming salty water, they already wazees before they finish their teenagehood. And I believe at the airport, if at the airport we can have fresh water, airport is in Embakasi East, JKI, why not in other wards? The majorly affected wards here are Mihango, Utawala, where people mostly consume salty water.
All right.
We have other issues like infrastructures and poor roads. And I think the middle class are suffering. Equally, the people who are on the low class are equally suffering because accessibility is not achieved.
All right.
People are really, yesterday you saw demonstration in one of the Embakasis, that is Embakasi South, I think. I think the whole of Embakasi has a problem of roads, the accessibility. Unemployment is also a major problem because majority of the youths in Embakasi East are not employed.
All right.
Yes.
Remember, as you watch, we would love to hear from you. We would love to engage with you. What do you think about these three candidates that we have in studio on Twitter? We are running a poll on who do you think is winning this Embakasi East parliamentary debate from their manifestos, from the kind of vision they have for the people. Who do you think is most suitable for this post, or who do you think is winning this particular debate? Is it Babu Owino? Is it Steve Maina or Mzito? Or is it Francis Masinde? Would love to hear from you. Tweet us at KTN News, at Akisa Owandero. My next question, Babu, you've already answered. It would be, What do you think is the biggest problem for the people of Embakasi East? Babu has seemingly answered, saying it's water. What is it for you?
For me, it's still water, and it's still water, because water has been a big issue. Because we are just having water that's not good, water that we cannot be able to say that is clean. You know, as I always say, and I've always said it in many forums, we are all Kenyans, and according to our constitution, it describes well, it says that we are entitled to good water as a citizens of Kenya because we are taxpayers. Mm-hmm. And like in Mihango, let me just say something about Mihango. Mihango has always been having a peculiar problem. You know, there before, about like 10 years ago or 15, used to have clean water. Water that was just coming all the way from wherever it was coming from, Nairobi water, and then coming to Mihango. All of a sudden, it was closed. It was just cut. And we know it was just done politically. Things that were just instigated to ensure that people abide to what people want, the leaders wanted.
All right.
We know where things have happened. And once we get into these positions, we ensure that the water starts flowing, it flows well. Because already the piping is already done, and we know where that thing was done. And those who did it are still there.
All right, Francis.
You know, let me look at it differently, yeah? From what I said before. We have an absentee MP, yeah? If you go into a house and children are starving, there is no water, there is no sanitation, this is not there, they are malnourished and everything, yet you fail to notice the fact that the parents don't exist in that house, then you're actually going to solve the wrong things. Embakasi East suffers from lack of a leader. Yeah? Once you put the right leader in Embakasi East, then everything falls into place. It's a very rich constituency with bright people, brilliant minds are in Embakasi East. Talent is in Embakasi East. So you just need to put the right leader there and everything will fall into place. For example, the MCAs who probably you've mentioned, there was Amutavi, there was Mbani, and Omwenga. They're going home because of the fact that they were not able to do what they were meant to do. Lack of leadership is what really affects Embakasi.
So for you,
and that's
it is
what
bad leadership.
It is not bad leadership. Lack of leadership.
Yeah. All right. So for Babu, you know, the biggest problem for the people of Embakasi East is water. Steve Maina or Mzito says it's water. For Francis, it is lack of leadership. We spent some time with residents of Embakasi East and asked them the same question. Let's just take a look at what they said before we come back to the interview.
Sasa maombi yangu tu nilikuwa naomba tu kwa kanzo. Sisi unaona hapa hii banda yote tunalipanga kila kama ni Tuesday unalipa 50. Friday unalipa 50. After kulipa namna hiyo kuna watu wa inspectorate wanakuja. Hawataki kuangalia makaratasi, wanakuja wanakuchukua mara moja na unapeleka City Hall na unastakiwa. Sasa hapo ndio nilikuwa nataka waangalie watuambie kama ni license, sisi kunafaa ule mtu ako na nyumba mahali plot number ndio analipa license. Sasa ndio anafaa uliza license hapo. Lakini nyingine sasa wakikuja tumelipa nyingine na tunakuja unakamatwa hapa. Hapo ndio ningeomba tu kama ni watu wa kanzo watu waangalie hapo peke yake. Hiyo peke yake. Hiyo ndio ile shinda tu. Hiyo ndio tuko nayo hiyo peke yake.
Shida ile inatusubua hapa ni maji. Na unajua mama ni maji. Sasa hata tunahofia hata kuwa na cholera outbreak ya diseases. Kwa sababu unaona kama watu wako na mita. Na still tunaendelea na kulipa standing charges. Kila mwezi tunalipa standing charges. Sasa hii maji tutapata lini? Tunaambiwa maji inakuja, hatuoni maji.
Community wa hapa wako na shida ya maji. Na maji ni uhai. Na kusema kweli hiyo miaka yote tumekaa hapa, hiyo shida ya maji ndio imetukumba sana. Na for example kama saa hii area yetu watu wa City County wameweka mipipe, lakini bado hiyo mipipe iko hapo lakini haina maji. Na tukashindwa, mbona wanakimbiza hao watu wanajitafutia kitu kidogo na hawezi kutuletea maji. Ile kitu nimeona na macho na tumeiona watu wengi ni maternity hapo kwa dispensary. Hiyo tumeiona ni pesa ya CDF. Hiyo tu Embakasi ndio tumeona. Otherwise hatujaona kitu kingine. Tunaingia mbunge atakaingia kwanza aingie mashinani. Mimi ni heoda wa hapa, nimekwambia nimekaa hapa nikiwa kijana, sasa ni mzee. Kama mbunge anaweza kuja ingie huko umumu atuone. Hii ni rika wa vijana wamesaliwa hapa na wasichana na hawana kazi. Na kama ataingia ataona shida yetu. For example kama hiyo ya maji na atatusaidia. Na tukiwa na yeye mashinani tutamwonyesha shida mingi na tutasaidiana na yeye because pengine ako mbali, lakini sisi tuko mashinani tutamsaidia kazi na tuko willing kufanya hivyo.
All right, just some views there from residents of Embakasi East, water being the dominating factor there when we asked what is the one issue they would really like to be addressed. Francis, what do you think?
It is true, and just like I'd said before, yeah. First of all, you have to realize the MP's role and the county assembly representatives' role are somewhat parallel. The role that an MP is going to take is more so legislation, oversight. You know, it's more so on the national government. The county government has representatives whom we call MCA, are the ones who most of the time take up on these problems, water, sanitation, such like things. Now, in my manifesto, the second page, what I offer as an MP is unity and synergy between MP and ward offices, because you need an MP who can be able to create some synergy, a working relationship between the MP's office and the MCA's office. That's the only way these problems are going to be sorted out. Right now, since we don't have a leader who probably does not go to see what the MCAs are up to or they're doing what their plans is, then we have these problems coming up. MCAs are now going home, have you seen? Some of them are actually been voted out because kiukweli, it is terrible in Embakasi East on such small issues as water, which should have been sorted out by MCAs right to the governor, who should be able to sort these things out. As an MP, I should be able to use my influence as an MP, either to engage the private-public partnerships or to go directly to the governor's office and find out how come my constituency is being let down by your MCAs. And it's up to me to whip those MCAs, even though we are parallel, to make sure wanawajibika pale vote, to make sure that these things are done. Otherwise, as an MP, my role is to legislate, to oversight, and to make sure every other person in the brood is taken care of. Like I told you, if a house does not have parents, does not have guardians, like Embakasi East does not have a leader, we are going to have these problems. MCAs are running out everywhere because they are not taking care of their mandate.
All right.
So lack of leadership, I keep reinforcing on that point. We need to sort that out and everything will fall in place.
Okay, okay, Francis. Babu.
Thank you very much. I think on my part, the issue of water that has been talked to by majority of Embakasi East residents, I believe it's time for people of Embakasi East to get fresh water. In Coast Province, if we talk about Mombasa, for example, it's surrounded by Indian Ocean that is salty, but the water that they consume from the taps is fresh water. So I don't understand why in Embakasi East in itself, people could be consuming flourished water. And I believe that generally, water being one of the challenges, there are also other challenges, like when I say the infrastructure, issues of unemployment, because if we solve the issue of water, there's another issue that may crop up, issues like unemployment, issues of schools, public health facilities, which are lacking there, especially in Donom. There's no single health facility, a clinic or a hospital that can help the people of Donom. They have to move way to Embakasi Central, where they get their help from. The one that we have in Soweto is it is a community health center, but the way it is being managed is not proper. It's quite expensive for the residents there, taking into account that the people who are staying there are slum dwellers who actually depend and feed from hand to mouth.
All right.
Yes.
Mine.
Still saying about that water in Embakasi. First, I must say that though I don't like talking about John Omondi Ogutu, simply because I've never seen him. He has been my MP, but for the last 4 years, I've never seen him, whether I've not seen him personally, physically, or heard him talk in any forum in Embakasi East. To amuse you is that you know, I worked in Treasury one time before I quit my job for for politics. From records held in Treasury indicates that our MP has been returning money the money that was disbursed to Embakasi East to do ABCD, what we are talking about, water, what about education, what about health, all the money was returned to Treasury. That was the most undoing for him. Because one, he didn't have any vision. He didn't even have people who could advise him on how to utilize that funds. So at the end of the day, you realize that we are having a lot of problems. Like now for the last 2 or 3 years, because when I started now dealing with the public, they've been thinking that I'm an MP in Embakasi East, because every day, every morning, you'll find them come for help. Simply because the help they would have gotten from Omondi, the MP, is not there, because you cannot even locate him. He doesn't even stay in Embakasi East. Once he was elected, he just went in hibernation, wherever, in Nairobi. So what we are saying here, if the funds that are allocated through the CDF, if those funds could be utilized properly, nicely, to the people of Embakasi, because I believe it's their right. This money that they have been paying as taxes. If they could utilize those funds and have good, clean people, let's say, people who can advise him on what to do. Because ideally, even if you are a leader, you need other people also to advise you on what's supposed to be done. Ask the leaders what they need.
All right.
So for him, I would say that the most undoing thing for him is that he has been returning money to Treasury.
Okay. I understand we need to take a short break, but I will ask a very simple question that would need a very simple answer before we come back and have you elaborate on it. Do you have a manifesto? Do the people of Embakasi East have it? Have they read it?
Not only have they read my manifesto, they have read and understood it. I made sure that all my meetings in all the wards, everybody had a copy of my manifesto, not just for them to go home with it and put it under the table, but we went through it together, because I wrote it myself so that they can understand. When Masinde wrote this about health, about security, about private-public partnerships, about unity and synergy between MP and ward officers, what did he mean? And it was actually necessary for me to be there to take them through, because there are those who, you have to be appreciative of that. Some who will get it very fast, some will get it very slow. So you have to be there to make sure you go through it with them, so that they understand the devil that is usually within the details, so that they get to know what plans, what vision Francis Masinde has. Not only that, there's also my website, because there are brilliant people in Embakasi East. My website has been up and running for the people of Embakasi East to log on, to go and either download or read through or extract the manifesto.
It both manually and online, yes?
And online, and also on the social media.
All right, Francis, do you have a manifesto? Do the people have it?
I have the manifesto. I've given it out to the people of Embakasi East. I've explained on 3 pillars. That's infrastructure, we have education, and livelihoods.
All right. All right. We will get back so that you can explain to us what it entails, Babu.
Yes, of course, I have manifesto, and some of the things that I've explained that I'll do to the people are part of my manifesto. Unfortunately, I didn't give the people of Embakasi East a hard copy or a written form.
So they do not have.
I was explaining myself to them, because I was considering that in Embakasi East there are also people who are not lucky enough to go to school.
All right.
Yes.
So they do not have a copy whatsoever of your manifesto.
But the way I've been walking and campaigning around, I explain.
All right. We're coming back. We need to get deeper into what really their manifestos entail. What are some of their strongest pillars that they will be campaigning on? But of course, remember at the top of the hour, my colleague Sophia Wanuna is coming in with the primetime news bulletins. I'll just pave way for her to give us the highlights and tell us what to expect at the top of the hour. Sophia.
Akisa, good evening. Indeed, we have a lot in store for you. Come KTN Prime at the top of the hour. And one of the stories we'll be telling you about is 2 police officers that were killed in Garissa County. And this is after their car ran over an improvised explosive device. And this just happened a day after 3 other officers were also killed in the same fashion. So we'll give you more details on that. And also looking at the matter of the County Public Accounts and Investments Committee. They want an arrest warrant issued against Governor Wycliffe Oparanya. This is because he snubbed summonses from this committee for the last 4 years over audit queries. So we'll tell you how that unfolded today and what headway, if at all, they have made. Also, KQ is back in the news. This time around, depends on how you're looking at it. According to them, they're doing better than the last time, but they're still in the loss, in the red, if you like, making losses now at 10.2 billion shillings. So we'll tell you about that. And you're talking about Embakasi East. One of the elections and the seats we'll be watching tonight on KTN Prime is Bomet East. And why is that a contest to watch? Because a mother will be facing off with her son, and that's former Assistant Home Affairs Minister Beatrice Connes. In that parliamentary race, she's contesting it against her son. So definitely very interesting details to find out how that race is developing. So Akisa, we have those stories amongst others ahead.
Well, I believe you will have no reason to miss out on the KTN Primetime News. Definitely very interesting stories lined up for you at the top of the hour. Let's take a short break. We will be back with the Embakasi East parliamentary discussion here on KTN News.
This is KTN News. Investment tips brought to you by Sanlam. Have you ever thought of accomplishing an important goal but finances have been a hindrance? With the proper savings plan, you can live your dreams. Assess what you can afford saving periodically against your goal and choose a plan that works for you.
Get proper insurance cover today.
Juzi tunasikia sijui bei ya mahindi imepunguzwa ikaletwa shilingi 90. Sasa mahindi utakula kavu. Si unga unakula na maziwa. Si unga unakula na mchicha. Si unga unakula na nyama. Si unga unakula na tomato. Si unga unakula na mboga. Sasa kama mboga na maziwa na nyama imepanda, unga tukule peke yake namna hiyo, tukoroge na maji ama itakana namna gani?
This is KTN News.